There is a very specific reason why Gen X is often called the feral generation, and it has nothing to do with rebellion. It has to do with a unique neurological wiring that comes from growing up in the last era of truly unmonitored silence. If you are part of this generation, you carry a set of survival skills that modern psychology suggests are quietly disappearing. You didn't just survive your childhood, you designed it. And looking back, you realize that what today's parents might call neglect was actually the training ground for an elite level of mental toughness. The first psychological skill you developed is what I call audio engineer focus. Modern kids have algorithms that deliver them music. You had to chase it down. You remember the visceral tension of sitting in front of a boombox for hours, finger hovering over the record button, waiting for your favorite song to finally play on the radio. You had one enemy, the DJ. You hoped he wouldn't talk over the intro because if he did, the entire recording was ruined. This wasn't just a pastime. This was cognitive training in high-stakes patience. You became a strategist of sound. You had to calculate the exact minutes and seconds of every track to make them fit perfectly onto side A of a cassette without cutting off the ending. You learned that value isn't handed to you. It's curated, calculated, and earned. This leads to the second trait, adaptive solitude. You were probably a latchkey kid. You came home at 3:30 p.m. to an empty house, unlocked the door, and stepped into complete silence. You didn't panic. You didn't feel abandoned. You made a buttered sandwich, turned on the TV, and managed your own world until the adults came home. Psychology calls this an internal locus of control. Because no one was there to entertain you, you built a rich internal life. You learned how to be alone without feeling lonely. While modern generations grow uneasy being disconnected for even a few minutes, you find comfort in it because you remember when being unreachable was a luxury, not a problem. The third thing people from this era developed was their pain tolerance threshold. Your playgrounds weren't built for safety, they were built for endurance. You remember the burning heat of a 16-foot metal slide in the middle of July that could scorch your skin. You rode bikes without helmets miles away from home, and when you fell and gashed your leg deep enough to see white tissue, you didn't call for help because you couldn't. You got up, walked your bike home, and handled it yourself. You learned that pain was information, not an emergency. This exposure to what researchers call safe danger wired your nervous system to stay calm in a crisis. You don't spiral when things go wrong today because you already know you can survive the fall. The fourth thing that defined this generation is analog social intelligence. Today, privacy barely exists, but you grew up in a world where privacy was physical. If you wanted to talk to your crush or your best friend, you dragged a 50-foot phone cord into a pantry or closet just to get away from your parents. You spent weekends at record stores, not just buying, but connecting. You didn't have group chats, you had real gathering places. This taught you how to read body language, tone, and silence in a way no text message ever could. You built relationships that were truly ride or die, because sometimes you literally had to ride your bike to their house just to see if they were home. And all of this shaped your defining trait, buckle up resilience. You grew up hearing "buckle up, buttercup" instead of "are you okay?" You lived in the shadow of the Cold War and the constant threat of nuclear winter, yet you carried on day to day with a quiet shrug. You're not cynical, you're steady. You are the bridge generation. You have the tech skills of the future, but the grit of the past. You are the only ones who can navigate a digital world with an analog soul. If you remember the smell of a fresh cassette tape or the taste of garden hose water, drop a comment sharing your experiences growing up in that era. And if you want to understand more about the psychology behind it, make sure you subscribe.